swimmer and felt fingers like iron digging into his flesh as he heaved him aboard. He and Orm were both soaked to the skin, muscles aching, arms bruised. Monk's heart beat in his throat as if it would choke him. He could not do enough, not nearly enough. It was only minutes after the explosion when the last of the boats slid into the dark river and disappeared. There was nothing left but the cries, the debris, and the bodies, some motionless, some still fighting to stay above the water. Other boats were coming. A ferry was less than 40 feet away. As it swung around and the men reached over to pull people from the water, the fading sunlight momentarily illuminated a picture and a name painted on the stern. A barge was making its way slowly, dragged against the current as it came closer. The bargee was bending and reaching out to help those closest to him. A small coal freighter was flinging barrels and scrap wood overboard, anything that anyone in the water could clutch onto to help them float before their imprisoning clothes dragged them still screaming under. Monk and Orm had heaved 6 exhausted people out of the water, but that was all they dared carry. Sick with misery, they had to beat off those whose weight would have sunk the boat. Monk had to forcibly push one man away from the gunwales with the blade of his oar, afraid that he would overturn the boat in his frantic attempt to climb aboard. They pulled for the shore, hearing the repeated thanks of the survivors who were huddled together, trying to assist one another in the body of the boat, holding up those barely conscious. Men on the banks were wading as far as they could, roped together, stretching out to lift and help. Monk and Orm went back out again into the near darkness, directed now as much by cries as by sight. They pulled several more people out of the water and rowed them ashore. Monk lost all track of time. He was wet to the skin and so cold he was shaking, yet he and Orm could not give up. If there was even one person still alive in that black water, then they must find him or her. It seemed every man in the river police was here with them, and all manner of others joined in, united in their horror and grief. The banks were lined with people offering aid. Some pushed mugs of hot tea and whiskey into freezing hands, helping the rescued to hold on and drink. Others had blankets. Some even had their own spare dry clothes. The moon was high in the sky when Monk and Orm finally moored the boat and climbed wearily up the steps from the river to the level dockside, acknowledging in a glance that they had done all they could. The wind had risen and scythed across the open stretch in front of the Wapping police station, which was their headquarters. Monk hunched into his coat instinctively, but it was pointless when everything he wore was soaking wet. He increased his pace. Weary as he was, the cold was worse. He could hardly feel his feet, and all his bones ached. The palms of his hands were blistered, so he could barely move them. He reached the door with Orm a step behind him. Inside, the wood stove was lit. The air was blessedly warm. Sergeant Jackson came bustling toward them immediately, attending to Monk first, as rank demanded. "You better get them clothes off, sir. We got plenty of dry ones in the cupboard. Not your taste, sir, being a bit of a dandy like you are, but dry's all that matters now, or you'll catch your death. Begging your pardon, sir, but you look like hell." Monk was shaking so hard his teeth were chattering, and it was beyond his control to stop. "I thought hell was supposed to be hot," he said with an attempt at a smile. "No, sir, cold and wet. Ask any seaman, he'll tell you," Jackson replied. He turned to Orm. "You too, Mr. Orm. You don't look no better. When you come out, I'll have an hot mug of tea for you with a good dash of whiskey in it." "A very good dash, if you please," Monk added. He wanted the fire of it to take the edge off the horror inside him, the pity and guilt he felt for those he had not saved. He sat down and let the warmth of the fire wrap around him like a blanket, for a moment obliterating everything else. Jackson did not say anything, but bustled about preparing the tea. He had spent all his life on the river, like Orm. He had seen other tragedies before, but